Hi, I'm Carl with Abt, and in this video we're going to take a look at 3 reasonably priced TVs from the big 3 manufacturers and see who comes out on top. We've got the Sony XBR49X800E, the Samsung UN49NU8000, and the LG 49SK8000. And at the time of the filming of this video, all 3 of these sets can be found under $800 on Abt.com, but because of different promotions, prices can fluctuate a little bit, so make sure to click on the links in the description to see our current prices. Now, keep in mind that the opinions in this video are mine, and I know not everyone's going to agree with me. If you have different thoughts on any of the stuff I go over, please leave them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. So, to start things off, we'll take a look around the outsides. They're all thin bezeled, and they all honestly look great mounted on the wall, so it's kind of a wash there. But for those that are going to put these on a piece of furniture, you'll want to take the pedestals into consideration. Between the 3 of them, I think the LG's looks the nicest. However, just like the Samsung, it has a single mounting location on the back of the set, which can kind of cause it to move a little bit if it gets bumped. The Sony's mounts at 2 spots, and it holds the TV more firmly in place. So from a looks perspective, I like the LG the best, but for stability purposes, the Sony's the way to go. Now, if you move to the back of the sets, you'll see all the inputs. They each have 4 HDMIs, but the Sony has 3 USBs where the Samsung and LG only have 2. They each have Ethernet, antenna, and RS-232C inputs, but the Sony and LG are the only TVs with component and composite inputs. The Samsung doesn't. I know it's not really that important since most everything hooks up with an HDMI cable now, but for someone who has older analog components they still want to use, it's something to keep in mind. All 3 also have optical audio outputs as well, but only the Sony has an analog audio hookup. So for connections, Sony's going to offer the most between the 3 of these. Now, let's talk about the picture, and this was really the hardest category for me to choose within. They're all fairly saturated right out of the box, so I definitely recommend going through the picture settings and either finding a preset that works or just really getting into it and mess around with all the different layers that they give you control over. With some tweaking, we were able to get all of them pretty close to one another. For this video, we've got them all on the cinema mode, but once we had them dialed in when we were calibrating them, I actually thought the Sonys looked the most natural. Samsung and LG weren't far behind, but to me the Sony just seemed like it offered the best picture with the least amount of work necessary. Motion on all 3 was decent too, but my favorite of the 3 for that was the Samsung, and then Sony and LG were following closely behind. The operating system is going to be another thing you'll want to factor into your decision. As homes get smarter, it's becoming more and more important to have a central hub for all your smart stuff, and the TV is, I think, the best place for all that since it's going to offer a nice big screen to see your connected devices, and it's easy to access things while you're sitting watching a show. Now, my favorite operating system far and away amongst these 3 sets is the LG. WebOS for me is the easiest to navigate, the smoothest operating, and the remote integrates, I think, the best with the TV. Samsung would be my second choice of the 3, followed by Sony. But the LG Magic Remote just has great voice recognition, as does the Sony. I just like the design of the LG much better. The Samsung voice recognition is good too, but when used in conjunction with Bixby, you have to say exactly what you want to do. The LG and Sony, since they run on Google, seem to do a better job of understanding the meaning of what you're asking. I will give Bixby credit though, as it's better at handling interior operations as they deal directly with the TV, but I don't use those enough to really benefit. Now lastly is the sound quality. Now with all 3 of these, a soundbar is almost a requirement, but if you're going to pick just one to use without any supplemental sound, my choice amongst these 3 again is going to be LG. But sound is extremely subjective, so my choice of LG is based on the videos I've watched. I was able to hear the vocals a little more clearly than on the other 2, and it seemed to have a little bit more bass. But again, I don't put a whole lot of weight into this category because the TVs really are meant to use with a soundbar or surround system now. So if I had to pick one of these to get, my choice would be the LG. It's got the best operating system, best looking pedestal, although it is a little bit wobbly. The picture isn't far behind the Sony, and the sound, even though it's not a huge factor, was the best to me. Not only that, but it's typically listed for a lower price than the other 2. All 3 are great sets that deserve consideration, but for the total package, I'm choosing the LG. So who agrees with me? Let me know why or why not in the comments, and if you have any other categories I should be talking about, let me know that too so we can address them in the next comparison video. As always, we appreciate you checking out our videos, and don't forget to subscribe so you get updates whenever we upload new content.